If we can start the recording. Great. All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Michael Cronin. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a project manager on the Climate Core team. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Jasmine Harrison. She's the Climate Core Network Manager, and Sophie Davis is the Climate Core Network Program Coordinator, who will be assisting with technical assistance today. Thanks so much for joining today during your workday or whatever else you may have going on this week. In just a few moments, I'm going to introduce our speaker, but I wanted to kick off some quick housekeeping items and share an icebreaker in the chat. For your information, this workshop is being recorded. If you do not want to appear in the recording, you may turn your video off. And if you speak during the workshop, you will be on the recording. And the recording link will be shared after the workshop. For any registrants who missed time, or if you want to check it out after the workshop, it'll be available to Climate Core alum. This will be an interactive hour, so we do encourage participation, but it's not required. Now for our icebreaker, Sophie Davis is going to be posting these details in the chat now, but please share with us in the chat your name, the year and host organization you served with for your Climate Core Fellowship, your LinkedIn profile, if you're comfortable sharing, and something specific about LinkedIn you hope to learn from the workshop. So Sophie's posting that now. Awesome. Thanks everyone for sharing. You can just post that as you go. LinkedIn is an amazingly useful platform. We're confident you all come away from this workshop today with some useful tips and tricks to help grow your network and achieve your career goals. Without further ado, I'll introduce our speaker. Connor Donnelly is a Climate Core alum from 2022 and a LinkedIn pro. LinkedIn has helped Connor get informational coffee chats, secure job interviews, land new roles, and both expand and frequently update his professional network on all that he has accomplished. Connor has nearly 4,500 connections on LinkedIn. It's helped him elevate his network from local to a global level. He's connected with engineers in Mexico, public officials in the Philippines, environmental consultants from Spain, journalists in Brazil, nonprofit founders in the UK, students in Japan, business people in Pakistan, energy project leaders in Nigeria, climate scientists from India, and thousands of other sustainability-focused individuals through this powerful platform. Now, Connor has given the same presentation to his MBA classmates at the University of Michigan, and also to his fellow Green Biz emerging leaders and select undergraduate students in the Tufts Verse Summer 2022 program. He regularly provides one-on-one LinkedIn consulting to his peers as well. So without further ado, Connor, please take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much for the intro. Let me share my screen and we'll get things going. Alrighty, I think we're good to go here. So hey y'all, my name's Connor. We're gonna go into that in a sec. Thank you for showing up for LinkedIn tips and tricks. Let's get to it. So at a high level, gonna quickly introduce myself so you know where both I and the information you're about to get is coming from. We're then gonna dive right into insights, followed by a couple real world examples on LinkedIn. We're gonna reflect on what LinkedIn is and how to integrate LinkedIn into our professional lives moving forward. And we're going to conclude with a brief survey. I find the best presentations aren't overly formal, but those that are a little bit more interactive. So if you have a question, please throw it in the chat, and we'll try and answer it as soon as we wrap up the slide deck. And if for whatever reason I'm unable to answer it or there's a whole bunch of questions, hit me up on LinkedIn and I'll answer it there. A little bit about me. I'm SF, born and raised. Went to Cornell University for undergrad, where I majored in economics, minored in inequality studies. I then became an AmeriCorps member for City of Los Angeles, and more recently I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Uganda. I just graduated this last year with a dual MBA MS in Environmental Justice and Sustainable Systems from the University of Michigan, Go Blue. And I am going to be this month, or wow, less than that, but only in a couple weeks starting my job at Deloitte, where I'm hoping to inject everything DEI and sustainability for all my projects. So I shared the big outline, but specifically what we're going to do right now is talk about why LinkedIn matters, and then I'm going to share my insights. And like I said, we're then going to hopefully get to your questions where we can give more pointed feedback. All right. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I'm going to speak to why my perspective on broader networking changed during my undergrad. So I came out of college a little naive and assumed that because I had worked hard, studied material that was desirable, uh, and was outgoing, that I was a deserving candidate to most everything I applied to. Whether or not I was right did not matter. People looking at resumes or meeting me for the first time have no idea what my work ethic, my character, my intelligence, or larger potential truly is. So after not a lot of success trying to secure internships and landing jobs, I talked to my peers who were having success, and I asked a bunch of questions. What I found was these individuals constantly labeled and presented themselves as the most ideal and a really specialized candidate for each and every job or internship they were considering. This felt so fundamentally wrong and out of character for me to, I don't know, come across as braggadocio and tell people I'm the best and I'm an expert when all I wanted to do was help people and identify 100% as a generalist. But it was upon reflection from these conversations that I learned one of the most important lessons in my life. No one's going to advocate for you on your behalf or promote yourself like you can. It's not being a braggart to present as confident and self-assured, especially in a competitive job market. And I think if we were to put it differently, you know everything that you have to offer, but how would an employer that's just met you know everything, all that you bring to the table? And it's not fair to assume that someone can know your potential, so you have to articulate it for them or to them. If you take anything away from this presentation, especially as change makers, remember the distinction between confidence and arrogance in a professional setting. All right, final reminders, you're going to have access to the recording. I'm going to share my slide deck after. So if you're taking notes, you missed something, no worries. You're going to have access to it. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing, there's 10 statistics in the slide deck, but I'm going to be focusing on 4 of them. 1, 2, 9, and 10. Not some, not half, not most. The vast majority of jobs come from networking. And of those jobs, most of them are never publicly shared. They're internally posted or created specifically for candidates that recruiters meet through networking. Jumping along a little bit. On average, men and women will have 12.6 and 12.1 jobs in their lifetime, respectively. That means that if you're 30 today and you want to retire at 60, using round numbers, you're going to have a new job every 2.5 years. The next job often feels like the most important, but it's going to be one of many. So having a strong presence on LinkedIn is in your best interest. I also think another way to put it might be it's better to be proactive than reactive. And finally, I want to highlight this. We live in an 8 billion person world, lots of people out there, and a huge number of them are using this platform because it does so much more than just networking and recruiting. All right. So I've looked at over hundreds of profiles. I spend time on this site every day, and I'm actually compiling information daily. I just, from the second bullet point, this person, I follow them every day. And so it's all the information you're getting is continually updated most all the time. And yeah, so I too identify as a LinkedIn expert. I think any stats that I share are stats, and then I'm adding my opinion to it. But if you disagree with what I say, I still think the stats are worth noting. At a high level preface, LinkedIn is anything but a resume. It's an introduction to yourself. It's a platform that is continually there. So in general, I think LinkedIn is used in 2 ways. It's often, like I've said, for recruiting or networking. And I think that when you consider how you want your profile to present, you want to be mindful of both parties. It's also important to be aware of how they're looking at it. The two mediums through which you can look at profiles on LinkedIn is your phone and your laptop. Take time after this presentation to compare how your profiles look through the two mediums. And then this is one of the major points of this entire presentation. It's not a copy and paste of your resume, right? Do not just have it be giant blocks of text. It's an introduction. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's the intro to the resume. It's the intro to the interview. It's the intro to meeting someone in person. Alrighty. So the way I've set up this slide deck is if someone were to open up a profile on LinkedIn, we'd be starting from top to bottom. So for the photo section, you want it to be up close. You want to be taking up most of the frame, and the statistics speak for themselves. It more than 20 times leads to more views and almost 10 times more the number of connection requests. For your banner or background photo, I largely advocate that people check out unsplash.com. They have incredibly stunning photos. And if you're looking to combine things that seem really distinct, my best friend here, he is a data analyst and a strategic consultant for a trucking company. And he's like, I feel like I don't know where I'm going to find a photo of trucking and graph. We went to a AI customizable pixeler and made one really quickly. You do have to pay for that, but just an alternative if you feel like there's so much you want to put into the background. For both your photo and your banner, it's the first thing that people see. And you want it at a subconscious level to scream what it is that you are in the professional sense. For your headline, it's not a sentence, it's not a paragraph where it's gone from here's a picture of me to here's a picture of who I am, what I do, and now in only a few words, what you do. Bing, bang, boom. 1, 2, 3, at most 3 things is what I would advocate that you put for the headline. For the about section, this is where I think that this is the biggest challenge of LinkedIn. I think it's also the greatest opportunity. The worst thing you can do here is have a huge chunk of text. So often I see people like, oh my gosh, the about section. I finally get to have my resume, which is all these bullets, make it into a nice cohesive little essay. But if I'm seeing more than 3 or 4 lines or 6 lines, especially on a phone, I'm so not inclined to read that. And more often than not, everything that was often very well articulated is shown in a prettier way as we scroll down. So, general rule of thumb, have it be 1 or 2 sentences. It's okay for it to be a few more, and we're going to actually see, an example like that. But maybe speak to what you've done in the past, how that led to where you are now, and where you hope to go. You want that to be really succinct and compact. Featured posts, when you scroll down, people are going to see your top 3 posts, and that gets a lot of traction. Post your absolute greatest achievements there. Activity, we're going to unpack that later. Experience, the importance of an icon can't be understated. Having that little logo right next to an experience, again, people are making a lot of subconscious quick decisions as they scroll through. We started out with a picture of who you are and a banner of who you are. We're adding a little bit more words, but all the while we want it to look pretty and we don't want to overwhelm people. We want it to be as easy as possible. Like, oh, Michigan, that person probably went to the University of Michigan. EDF, oh, that was an internship, something of the like. Education, just the highlights. You're going to see, this is the first time I have 3, or the first time I'm speaking to the number 3. 3 to 5 is your general rule of thumb. Less is more on LinkedIn. It's in a soundbite world, people are making really fast judgments. And again, it's not your full resume. If someone really wants to know more about you, they'll reach out and they'll ask for it. Don't overwhelm your reader. Licenses and certificates, put them there. Validates growth. Volunteering. Speaking I think this one really exemplifies the importance of like the aesthetics and like a lot of the subconscious decision making that people do. 6 times more profile views if you put that you're a volunteer. Why would that be the case? People want to work with likable people. If you're affable, then you probably function well on a team, and that's going to translate to success, right? So logically, it makes sense, but also just again, like a lot of quick second judgments, like, oh, this person volunteers. Maybe there's a connection there uh, that what like if someone works with Big Brother, and then yeah, like let me use a more tangible example. I have a lot of connections from Peace Corps, and I have from people that are nurses, people in education that I wouldn't otherwise work with, but because we have other similar volunteer experience in addition to experience, get a lot more connections that way. Skills, again, we're seeing 3 to 5. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes you have your skill set is that you're a generalist, that you're incredibly versatile, and that you can do a lot of different things, all like very well. Always take that step back of how we started the presentation. What is it that how do I want to present myself to other people? And if I start having more than a dozen things, then in all likelihood, I'm not going to read the 11th or the 9th one, right? You want to highlight your absolute best stuff. And then through other means, people can learn more. Per the algorithm, so these next few slides, I'm going to go too fast to read through everything. But in 2022, these were the top human skills. These were the hard skills. And then overall skills, and again, hard skills from 2023. For number 2, SQL, that's not seen here. That doesn't mean that it's not important. Like, why would there be these changes? Per a lot of information, again, which I've synthesized, the economy is going through some growing pains. Injecting sustainability into everything is so much more important than ever before. AI is an absolute game changer, and we're not sure how that's going to change everything. But understanding that those are 2 really important things, that's the trend, that's what's going to happen. Analytical thinking and creative thinking are more heavily sought after than ever before. Just a quick reminder, so often I think that because people want to just throw like 35 plus skills on there, no one's reading all of those. Every skill you add almost diminishes what you're trying to highlight. You're trying to just show the absolute shiniest, your best stuff. And so if you have PowerPoint and Microsoft Office, think about the redundancy and how that's not helping you. Courses, again, 3 to 5. Honors awards, 3 to 5. This is an exception to the rule. If you're a polyglot, if you speak more than one language, put it there. It's awesome. Interests in organizations, we're at the very bottom of our profile. Most people don't get this far. I would not allocate more than a few minutes to this. However, I do think this is a great place to do a check on your larger profile. If you put here that you care about economic development and education, and you find that everything that you've been doing doesn't align with that, maybe consider if that means maybe, oh, I need a career change. Why are my values different? Use it as a pulse check. Okay, giving endorsements and asking and giving recommendations are 2 of the best ways to engage on LinkedIn. We're going a little over time right now, so we'll get back to that. All right, wrapping up the slide deck, key takeaways. LinkedIn has the potential to do something that no human can do. 24/7. You have the potential to be broadcasting yourself in a positive way professionally. And I think that a question I often get, what's the difference between LinkedIn and Facebook? Where's that fine line of, being an influencer and when is it too social versus professional? It is gray, but that also shouldn't make us scared. I think the fact that we have so much flexibility and we're not confined to a more rigid box gives more potential. And especially when people don't know how to use it, just think, how do I want to present myself? And take it from there. Finally, it's a visual introduction to yourself. It is not a copy and paste of your resume. You don't want it to be dense. You want it to be inviting, flaunt your absolute best stuff. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing here. Going to move over to LinkedIn. All right. Can everyone see my screen? Great. So at a glance, we see that I've pulled up my profile. I have a professional photo. I'm smiling. I'm taking up most of the frame. And then in the background, I have people, planet, profit, where it all overlaps, sustainability, a triple bottom line. In a